Welcome everybody to ECH Post Game Live. All good things must come to an end. Part two, Electric Boogaloo. That's about as best as I got for this one. This one was a rough game for a couple different reasons that we'll get to. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I kind of forgotten what it was like to try to load in here for an ECH therapy session. Not gonna lie, not that I missed it. Let me let me tell you. But thanks for joining us here on Emerald City Hockey's Post Game Live, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Um, yeah, this one was a rough one for a couple different reasons. It felt like the Kraken, Spencer Knight played a really good game for the Florida Panthers. Weren't able to get really anything past him. The PK for the Kraken was pretty abysmal. They did have discipline issues, but also just officiating in general was definitely not kind to the Kraken. Um, Definitely some missed calls there that could have helped them out. It was there was just yeah, just a lot of stuff that just didn't go the Kraken's way tonight. And look, we all know losses happen. We all knew that they weren't going to win out the rest of the way and win like 60 straight games or something. I just wish that for the loss to come to snap the big win streak was just, on a night where we didn't have it, or we just got outplayed, or like they just happened to get the lucky save or the lucky goal, instead of one where there's going to be lots and lots of talk, and probably rightfully so, about officiating. And that's just not how I was hoping this, kind of would come to an end for the Kraken. But here we are. Got to make do. Got to make the best of it. We're at least all here together. As we learned last season, that's really what matters most of all. So I'll go ahead and hop over here in a chat and get some early responses. First one in here from a fellow Dylan there. First therapy session in a while. It has been. It's been quite a little bit since we've had to do one of these, and like I said, I wasn't missing them. I'm not gonna lie. Walt, just a disappointing all around game. We need to be better defensively, and the PK needs to be fixed. Also, the reffing of this game was garbage. The reffing was definitely bad. I kept like waiting for like a makeup call to go the Kraken's way, like late in the first, maybe early in the second. It just kind of never came. And then yeah, there's just multiple missed penalties. You get the Dunn situation. I'm sure we'll talk about later with RJ, where he kind of he gets cross checked, rides up into the back of his head. He's upset about that, as you would be. Missed call on the initial cross check, but Vince Dunn. How many times have RJ or I said the second person, whoever retaliates, is the person who gets called? And so you gotta try to swallow your emotions there. I know that it's a big ask, but you just have to do it in a situation like that, given the way the rest of the game was going. Goaltender interference. Do we know what it is? No, we still don't know what it is. I I don't know. That one I don't even think we'll probably spend much time on, just because nobody knows. The NHL and the head of officiating, all that kind of stuff, they've just provided zero guidance as to what it actually is. So coaches like Hackstall are put in the situation where it made sense to me to challenge that totally. But we just don't know what the threshold is for actually calling that. And that is a whole separate frustrating issue that goes well beyond the Kraken. Like, that's just a league wide thing. But yeah, it was rough. And then defense. The first two goals not on Grubauer at all. Defense was atrocious. That second one, you got Larson and Alexiak just completely turned around. Again, they're looking at their goaltender. How many times I got to say that's not how you play defense. Like, you're never going to be an effective defender if you're looking at your own goaltender. It means people are behind you. It means people are in dangerous areas. You got to stop them before they get to that point. So you have that one on the power play. I will say at least Alexiak was sticking with somebody. Larson was just caught high again. And then yeah, so the first two goals didn't feel like that was on Grubauer. Grubauer made some big saves. Like to see that from him. Just felt like the team kind of let him down in some other areas. And then on the PK, I'm gonna dive into the PK a little bit tomorrow, so that on the deep dive on Monday we can talk about it. But like, it's so bad right now. It is unbelievably bad right now. We got to figure out a way of fixing it. This is from Kraken Hawk Sai. Kraken were due for a loss sooner or later. The bubble just happened to burst tonight. Now let's see how they respond against Montreal. Yeah, you get an extra day off now between games. I so far this season, we've seen this team respond very well whenever they run into issues like this. I think that tonight will be another example of that, or these next couple days will be another example of that. Um, just try to write things in the discipline area, try to get a little bit better on the PK, and just know that it's not going to be every night that like kind of the calls are so one-sided, and you'll probably be fine. I mean, the Kraken 36 shots tonight. Like I said, part of it was you just also played a really hot goaltender. Spencer Knight was just on. Like that's okay to admit too in all of this. CR Bud, all right, I'm here but not happy. Walt, me too. Joey, horrible game. Mike McBob, thanks refs. Kepler, oof. I feel all of that. I feel all of that, you guys. Greg, I need to turn off text and socials during games. Casual friends and casual online or a drag. We lost. It's going to happen. Florida played their butts off. They did. I mean, Florida was here for this one. Like, I don't want to, I definitely don't think that they did anything wrong or anything, right? Like, this is the ref issue is one thing, but Florida, there's a good chance, even if officiating was like taken out of this equation, there's a good chance Florida just wins tonight anyway because of Spencer Knight, because of what they were doing. Their power play was working really well, and the Kraken PK really wasn't. So I definitely don't want to put this all on the officiating issue at all. I think there's also some stuff that the Kraken need to clean up, and then goaltending like that, it just happens from time to time, and there's just some nights you just can't crack the code, and tonight was kind of probably always going to be one of those nights with Spencer Knight. Absurdly saying felt like we were playing against Panthers and Zebras tonight. I see what you did there. Yeah, at times it was bad. What is goaltender interference exactly? I have no idea. You have no idea, Stratic. I know nobody does. The coaches don't, and that's the real problem in all of this. Ferris, tough game, not as crisp in the big moments. We move on. Maybe is what you meant there. From Ferris, Hunter, please dissect the terrible PK. There's like too much to get into with the PK right now. So gonna save that for the deep dive. Maybe I'll try to work some video into the video components, although that'll demonetize us. I don't know. Maybe I can do it with still pictures instead, or I'll just do a separate video. But right now, I mean, like I said, on that first power play goal against, you've got both defensemen turned around. Edzo did a good job pointing out on the Root Sports broadcast just how the Panthers attacked with speed, and the Kraken were just not in any way capable of like keeping up with that. And so you immediately get like three Panthers, all three forwards, or three of the four forwards, all in instantly back behind all of the Kraken, just able to make whatever they want to have happen. You can't do that. You just can't. Really, these last couple games with the PK, just so much easy puck movement from the opposing team. And tonight, to the Kraken's credit, I saw it clear. One hole just I've got the puck. I'm sending it all the way down the ice clear. I think the Kraken have to get away a little bit from the power kill mindset of trying to find a pass or trying to move the puck up the ice, skate the puck up the ice. Just get back to fundamentals. I think I said this after the last one. Just get back to fundamentals. Just clear the puck. Like, that's all you got to focus on right now, because again, in this one, you let a tic-tac-toe goal kind of happen right there in the slot. Like, you just can't keep doing that. That's absolutely brutal. You're hanging your goaltender out to dry. You're giving them literally the highest percentage chance to score is shots from that low slot area, and they are just giving it up to teams right now when other teams have the power play. So all of that stuff's got to get cleaned up and has to stop if the PK is going to get any better. But right now, I mean, the fact that you're hovering down towards 50% or whatever over their last 8 or 9 games, it's unbelievably bad. Unbelievably bad. In case I pass out, we all together in this loss, guys. We sadly knew a loss would come, just not one this bad. I know, Jules. It was a little rough. Joey, refs have no idea what goaltender interference is. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just no clarity about it, and that's the only frustrating thing. Like, just give us some guidance. Give the refs guidance. Give the coaches guidance. Give somebody something, just so we're not constantly questioning it. One of those games where nothing went our way. That's going to happen. Credit to Spencer Knight, but I'm frustrated that Wenberg returned to last year's I'd rather make a cute pass than shoot mentality. That one from Tammy there. That's been, it's always kind of an on and off, I guess, issue with Alexander Wenberg. But yeah, there are times where with everybody on this team, I feel like from time to time, you just take the shot, just take the shot. You got to take the shot when it's there. Um, yeah, Dylan Coolman's a ghost out there. Certainly, the fourth line doesn't have the same kind of oomph, and they don't feel as dangerous scoring since Geeky's been out of the lineup. I will definitely give you that. That's again something that was one of those keys to the Kraken's success. One of those things that you could count on to kind of in a 1-goal game push them over the top, make sure they get the 2 points. Was the fact that you had your fourth line moving the way that they were, and certainly the last little bit doesn't quite feel like that fourth line has that same firepower that they did a little bit earlier. Hard to win when the refs decide the other team is incapable of committing penalties. Yeah. Benjamin, Kraken didn't deserve to win, but the refs didn't deserve their stripes. All right. Hockey Fork, they haven't lost a game since they wore the reverse retros last. Just saying. Okay, so are we saying that it's the reverse retros? Because I don't want that to be the case. Uh, but definitely interesting thing to note there. Gregory PK has been putrid, unacceptable. Agree, it's got to get better. Ty, that's how a goalie can steal a game. Spencer just on fire. Florida felt like they dominated the center of the ice on both ends. We were due, but this was ugly for other reasons. Again, yeah, I totally agree with you, Ty. This is one where a loss is coming. It's inevitable. It's just what happens when you play sports. You win some, you lose some. You always want to win more than you lose. But in this one, just the officiating kind of puts this weird cloud over it. If it had just been straight up Spencer Knight just absolutely robbing us in this one, we could at least be like, oh, it happens. You run into a hot goaltender. It's just unfortunate because you feel like when you're struggling so bad on the PK, and you're not really getting power play opportunities to try to even that out, it just kind of creates this added little something. But yeah, I mean, Florida played a really solid game around it. They're not in charge of the refs, right? Like they just played a fantastic hockey game too. Brian just got a good night all around. Hats off to them, but we didn't start on time and it never got better. Okay, regroup, get after the next one. We weren't good enough to win despite the refs. It's from Brian there. I think this turned it into the kind of the consensus around here. And I think that's good. I think this is solid. I think this is showing, what our community is all about, what the Kraken community is all about is just, hey, we didn't win. Sucks. Move on to the next one. Still got a good team. Still got a team that never gives up, right? Never gives up. They were still trying to get good scoring chances there at the end, even when it was a, 4-goal deficit. Kraken were still there trying to get shots off, trying to make things happen, trying to get something going on the power play. We've talked about it through all these other games, right? Just absolutely love that we know we can expect that from this team. I absolutely love that. SJ, I got so mad on the second goal that I stopped watching. Feels like these goalie interference calls are a coin flip. I agree with you. It's the one thing that I just really. Ugh. Sarah, what do you think about Sprong being selected to serve multiple penalties? I think it speaks to the team's faith in his ability to generate offense. What do you think about Sprong's? I'm kind of like, do you mean coming out of the box? Like, I don't know. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm just a little confused. Could you clarify again? Clarify lower down, and I'll jump down to C. What do you think about Sprong being selected to serve multiple penalties? I think it speaks to. Yeah, I just need a little bit of clarification and apologies for not getting the gist there. We had different players on the PK. Yes, we had Beniers out there on the PK finally, so we got to look at that. Credit to Beniers, +1 on a night like tonight's not bad, right? Happy to see that tie. Reverse retros are cursed. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only 2 reverse retro games have been the Kraken's last 2 losses. From Andy. I wasn't paying attention to that, but you're not the first person to say that in here, so but it's only a 2-game sample size. So yeah, Tyson thinks same thing as me on the Sarah thing, that meaning him coming out of the box there. For Daniel Sprung. Why is it saying that like no one took penalties here for the Kraken? But yeah, I think Sprong's ability, you're not going to play him on the PK, and then his speed, his scoring ability, the fact that you can maybe get a stretch pass out to Daniel Sprung coming out of the box, try to get a breakaway, try to get something going that way would definitely factor into why they would send him in there whenever there is that second penalty taken, like in the Vince Dunn situation, for sure. Let's see, Jules. I don't blame Dunn for reacting. It was a different situation than one Susie had. If I was hit like that, I know I would react. I look. It makes sense to react. It's just one of those where it's just tough, and you just every time, right? Retaliator gets that extra one. That's just well-known thing in hockey. So it's tough, and it's just also because Dunn has a little bit of a history with it. Right, like last year, Dunn took some penalties because he was the retaliator, and so that's part of the reason why it stuck out to me. Like if it had been someone who wasn't really known for that, like Matty Beniers does that or something, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's just young, got to learn that lesson, maybe or whatever. Like you could kind of laugh it off almost, but with Dunn, just because it's something that pops up from time to time for him, that I made more of a note about it. Larson takes his time way too often on our own zone. It's frustrating how lackadaisical he seems with the puck sometimes. From Dalek there, he could get a little faster with it. I don't know. I still think I want to see him on the power play, though. I know that that's like kind of a different situation than what you're talking about, but I still think like he's the only defenseman that is going to shoot the puck when he has it, and there's something to be said for that. But yeah, I think just all of the transition game has slowed down a lot for the Kraken here lately. I don't know if they're just tired or what's going on there, but just in general, it doesn't feel like we're really kind of snapping it to get it up ice the way that we were earlier in the season and seeing some success in the transition game with and that's kind of an everybody problem. Larson just might be the most obvious person for it. Um, let's see. Seems like there hasn't been practice days recently with all the wins. Much needed to reset with 2 free days before next game from Ferris. Part of that is also just because during this stretch for the last 2 weeks almost, it's just been a game every other day. So it's just been, and when that that's the schedule, and there's been travel in there as well, it makes sense that between the wins and everything that you would take those practice days off. And I know you're not saying like, oh, that's the reason why this happened or anything. But yeah, it's kind of time for them to maybe work on some things. Certainly the PK, like I wouldn't mind seeing a practice on Monday, let's say, and have that be a PK practice kind of right. And I think we'd all get on board with that because we all know last time they decided to focus on something in practice, we all know how that turned out with the 3-on-3 overtime, right? Like they've looked fantastic since then. um let's see. Florida did dominate us from Joey. Agreed. They played a really strong game. Ty, you have to let your offense get set a bit at least. You don't want to just fire it up there to have it fired right back at you. Referring to the Larson comment from a little bit earlier there. Yeah, but at some point you do want to attack with tempo and try to get things going. That's how a lot of the Kraken goals, especially the depth goals. You think of like every Morgan Geeky goal this season, right? It's all been off of a fast transition coming back the other way. I feel like Matty Beniers really excels when he can get going in transition. So maybe Larson, you start trusting your first read a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. I think, to each their own kind of thing. But I do understand the want to try to get guys going in speed instead of having your forwards all bunched up at the blue line and then you're having to try to make a pass to them. You're not going to get a strong controlled zone entry there. At least in my opinion. Striatic fourth line came down to earth a bit tonight. Chances that had been going in constantly for them weren't able to cash, but at least they are still getting chances. They are still getting chances, but like I said, they don't feel quite the same as back when Geeky was in the lineup there. And maybe that is just that pace of play thing that I was just talking about. Doesn't feel like they're on the attack. They're coming through strong in transition the way that they were earlier in the season. Kraken Hawk, I was in a brewery in Tacoma tonight and asked them to put on the game. We talked hockey for a bit with the server and made strides exposing more people to Kraken, even if they lost. Good on you, Kraken Hawk. That's what it's all about right there. Absolutely fantastic. Hats off to you. Really appreciate that. Just want to get as many people in and watching hockey, celebrating this team, enjoying what's going on. I mean, they're on a 7-game win streak. Of course, you got to put that on at the bar. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. Let's see. Lots of stuff in here. Tammy, I feel bad for Grew tonight. I know I feel bad for him too. Like he didn't kind of deserve to be the netminder in there for this one. But it's just It's just the way it goes. Joey, so we have a diehards of around 50. Last one we had 142 in chat. Yeah, I mean that's how it always goes. I think it's also, it's the weekend. I understand that a little bit. Saturday night. Nobody wants to come in here and be bummed out after a loss, although I think we're having a pretty good time as we always do. Um, but yeah, I get it, but I appreciate, all 61 of you who are in here right now. Absolutely love you guys. You all know that. Love and appreciate everything that you do for us, how you help us out in all the variety of ways, Patreon, giving us love when you go check out Queen Anne Beer Hall, all that good stuff, buying Maddie for Calder t-shirts, right? Love each and every one of you for sure. Um, Let's see. We all knew Guru is the guy getting paid to be the marquee goalie, but I think it's become clear that Jones is better of the two. Do you think Hackstall should prioritize Jones? It's from Kraken Huck. Um, uh, so definitely want to wait and we'll talk about this one with RJ too. But I will say Jones's last two starts, right? Because I'm pretty sure he started that San Jose start. So that was 5 goals, and then you've got not 8 in the Kings game after basically playing a month straight, right? He only had 1 game off in that like almost month stretch that Grubauer was out. I think fatigue was starting to catch up to Martin Jones and was going to be a bigger issue if you continued to kind of ride him the way that you were. I have no problem with starting Grubauer again tonight. I really think that this was more of an issue of the team in front of the goaltender, like whichever goaltender was going to be in net. This was an issue with them, and so I think that that's more so what was going on here, rather than it being anything Grubauer based. Because, like I said, those first 2 goals not on Grubauer. That Gustav Forsling goal at the end, like what goaltender is stopping that? It's literally in the one like top corner away that just no goaltender can reach. I just feel like tonight was a night that things weren't necessarily, the Kachuk power play goal. That's a shot that literally bounces off of Kachuk's like thigh, like to be redirected in. I don't know. I don't think Grubauer was the issue tonight. And I understand, long term, I think that it's going to be closer to a 50-50 split because Jones was playing so well. He's kind of earned that. But I think at some point, well, RJ looks like is maybe jumping in here with us in a sec. I still think that you had to give Jones a little bit of a break after all the hockey that he was playing at the moment. But let's go ahead and get RJ's perspective on this. Let's bring him in here on our hot swap there, with our overlays. So the thing I was just wanting to was just kind of the idea of, we all know Drew's the marquee goaltender, right? But Jones had been better through the season. Everything's looking good with Martin Jones there. Should Maxwell start to prioritize Martin Jones over Grubauer?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I think you do have to get back to somewhat of an even rotation. Eventually, I think that's how this goalie tandem has to work. Either that or Grubauer just taking over the reins, at some point. But he's got to play better for that to happen. I mean, Hackstall was asked pretty directly about what he felt of Philip Grubauer's game tonight, and he called it a mixed bag. And he said he made some really good saves for us, but he said on the 5th one, like, you need a save there, but I'm not going to criticize him for that because the game was out of hand at that point. Yeah. So again, he called it a mixed bag. I think you'd like to see more from him at certain points, but he said that was not the problem. He said every facet of our game was bad tonight. That there wasn't a single part of our game that was good. So I mean, for those of you in the chat who aren't pleased with the Kraken's effort tonight, Hackstall was not either. And I think he knows there needs to be improvement at every stage of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, obviously, the officiating issue is going to be hard to escape in this one, but Panthers just kind of outplayed the Kraken anyway, right? Spencer Knight was like unbeatable. They were, the Kraken PK obviously was not very good tonight. Kraken did a good job of generating shots in this one, but they never totally felt dangerous outside of a handful of times. It's just one where, yeah, if I'm looking at this and I think back to all the goals that were scored, and I just go, there's a lot of those where the defense or the team as a whole really just kind of left Grubauer out to dry.
Exactly. There were a number of times where really, yeah, Grubauer didn't have a whole lot of support, or you kept putting the Panthers on the power play, and with the way the PK is going right now, and I'm sure you've talked about this already, there's just no margin for error there.
Yeah, no, and it's yeah, I've talked about it. I've already promised we're going to talk a lot about it on the next deep dive on Monday. talking about this PK. Any word on like practice these next couple days?
Okay, so tomorrow is a day off that was already scheduled. So tomorrow was always going to be a day off, and then they're going to come back to practice on the 5th, which I believe is Monday.
Yep.
And then and then of course the 6th is their game against Montreal. So day off tomorrow, kind of wipe it clean, and then on the 6th they'll have morning skate.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be, 10 guesses as to what that practice will be about, right, RJ?
Yeah. So, but of course, I'll be there reporting from practice. So everyone, stay tuned to our Twitter, and of course, the patrons will get the practice recap.
Yep, definitely want to throw that one out there. Here we go. Looks like Furcus has extended his point streak to 20 games. So yay for Jagger Furcus. And looks like Firebirds in a shootout where Shane made a shot in the shootout.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he Firebirds scored. Won in the shootout.
Yep. So Shane Wright scored. I believe he was their second shooter, helped him to a win in the shootout there. I mean, coming in, it just felt automatic. He just waited out the goalie and a nice shot to the blocker side.
Yeah, going to be interesting. We heard from Ron Francis recently. They want him back up there in Seattle once this 5 games is over. Going to be fun. Hockey Fork asking, kind of curious why Wenberg is still centering the top line.
Well, I mean, when you talk about top line, it's, you've got a couple lines that are, with him and the Veneers line that are getting the bulk of that ice time. I mean, it really just comes down to, if you look at his line mates too, like the entirety of it is what carries the line really. And I mean, center, that's just the position that Wenberg plays. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to get those guys out there. And to be honest, as a unit, that line as a whole has been playing really, really well.
Yeah. And rated on the curve of just the Kraken players tonight, I thought he actually had an okay game.
Yeah, there was just a moment where he passed up a shooting opportunity with a pass. So, it gets people talking. Yeah, I thought that they were fine. I thought the Beniers line was fine. Really, it was the fourth line in this one that really kind of felt off to me, or wasn't able to kind of push possession. And so I was talking about that earlier, RJ, how much of that is necessarily the absence of Morgan Geekie? How much of that is just the Kraken's transition game as a whole right now doesn't feel like they're kind of playing with that same pace or tempo?
Yeah, I mean, they're not. I mean, you could tell there was a difference in this one as far as, hitting the neutral zone with speed in a way that they did in past games, but they didn't tonight. I guess it's tough losing Morgan Geekie there, but they looked fine last game, especially, the depth players. I did notice, though, with Donato having to play center, there were a few times where they went to Matty Beniers double shifting on that fourth line in Kuhlman's place and bumping Donato out to wing. And maybe that hints a lack of trust for, maybe that trio with Carson Kuhlman as a part of it and without Morgan Geekie.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see if they can bounce back. They still had some okay opportunities out there. Sprong with 4 shots on goal. So we'll just have to see next time. Donato had some good opportunities as well.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so Valentina in here. When Dunn lost his stick and none of the forwards would give him their stick, like, what was that about? I did kind of have that question too. Normally when a defenseman loses a stick, forwards are very fast to get over there to give them one of theirs.
Right. I mean, but I remember the play came kind of right back down the Kraken's way. He got tangled up with, I believe it was Tkachuk, and then the play was right back into the Kraken zone at that point. And there wasn't a whole lot of time to exchange sticks. I was still trying to figure out how he lost it because I know then he had to defend a rush and he didn't have a stick and it looked very awkward. But I think it just was kind of a bang play that came back at him.
Yeah. Got a super chat here from Tammy. Consolation treats for Dogskoy for Kraken loss and the loss of the canine world of Noodle, the Bones No Bones dog. Yes, Noodle did pass away at the age of 14. The Bones No Bones pug. If any of you are on Instagram, probably know what that's about. Yes, we'll get some Dogskoy treats going here in a little bit. She went on a long walk right before the game, and she's still feeling it, I think, a little bit. So I'll get on that in just a second here. I saw one in here. Where is it? From CR Bud. Dylan, off topic, went to my favorite burger joint again with the Kings fan owner. He did not want to discuss that game. I can imagine. Got Kraken can't win them all. This is from Devin. It's Bruins versus Kraken in the final. Seattle Kraken Stanley Cup champions. I mean, I'd take that. I would definitely take that. Can't imagine what post game live would be like after something like that. Jeez.
Oh yeah, can you imagine?
I know.
Might be a little bit after the game. I think I'd have to do some stuff on the ice first.
Yeah. Tough loss for the Kraken tonight. Panthers were right for the picking, but they had luck on their side this time. Hopefully the Kraken will get redemption in Florida on December 11th. Yeah, I mean, we get to play them again here in just a short bit of time. What would be like the top like adjustment you'd want to see from the Kraken going into that game in Florida?
I mean, aside from fixing the PK, because I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing. But I guess I don't know. I'd like to see him not get drawn into the mind games of the physicality again, because you had the Matthew Tkachuk friendship tour. I think maybe getting under the skin a little bit. Ryan Lomberg getting under the skin a little bit. I think just a little more focused, kind of play your game, and that fits into the special teams as well. And I see we have Afra there.
Yes. I was going to say part of it is you hope that you get Bobrovsky and not Spencer Knight. I think that would help a little bit. So I don't know that you can make that one happen, but I think just clean up, play a little bit better. You play a lot of games in a row. You had the pressure of the win streak going. It's not something that gets talked about often, but it does at some point start to play into things. I just think that, just don't be turned around on defense. Just don't be doing some of the stuff that we've been talking about these last couple
I think
games.
It's simple fixes. Just
the signs of this game were like showing, and we kind of knew it was coming at some point, and then it just all kind of came together in this one.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say the other good.
Yeah.
What? Go for it.
I say before we get to the next one, we have an Afra cameo. I want to have one more cameo, if you don't mind. For our photographer Jen, she came up here. She's the one behind our awesome photos.
Jen.
I'm sure you've seen them if you've watched the video version, the deep dive, or looked at really any of our stuff. Just want to give a quick shout out to our photographer Jen. Give her some love here, and then she's gone. Yeah, I don't think she wanted to come on there necessarily, but I think she she deserves some credit. Anyway, on to the next chat.
Yeah, good stuff there. The other thing I was gonna say is, the thing with Florida tonight. I mean, they were down to 15 skaters at some point, and so I do want to shout out them. Like, that's a tough thing to play through as a team, and they did rally around that, and they rallied around each other, and so I just do want to kind of just give that effort that they had a little bit of acknowledgement. I know it came at our expense, but I think it's deserved.
Yeah, it was a gutsy win on their part, especially losing a couple guys to injuries like they did. Hope Radko Gudas and Patrick Hornquist are okay. Yeah. Neither of them looked all that good heading off the ice. So, let's hope good updates from them.
Exactly. Painful game. We got goalied from Aaron there. Panthers goalie Knight was MVP tonight. I mean, no time. For
and
sure.
And Hackstall did say Spencer Knight was very good. He pointed to his own team, obviously, as the reasons for the loss, but Knight was good.
And that's one of the things I want to talk about. Like, obviously, Kraken, not a ton of power play opportunities tonight. Not, transition was a little bit slower maybe tonight than normal, but they still ended up with 36 shots, which is a lot for them. Like, that's more than we're used to seeing for the Kraken. And so they were trying everything that they could there, especially late to get one past him, and it just was not going to happen.
Yeah, and you look at the second period out shooting Panthers 13-3. I mean, they were all over him for a while. They put on that push. It was just, as Hackstall said, because he said that's kind of where the turning point was. We took an undisciplined penalty, meaning the done penalty, and couldn't get the kill, and that's kind of what did it.
Yeah. Ryan, I'm definitely more lenient on the offense. Like you said, they hung in there and tried to get back in it, and they've been unbelievable all year. Defense is absolutely inexcusable. It's just, again, we're just kind of back to basic things. We're back to discipline issues, right? Like I already said it for us both earlier, RJ.
Yeah.
The done, situation. That if you're going to be the retaliator, you're getting the extra penalty. Like, that's just something that we know. And it's just kind of frustrating when these things kind of pop back up for this team.
Yeah. And I know there were some complaints about the officiating in this one. And, there was, some stuff maybe a little suspect, but that's one that we know that's how they call it.
Right. And I was that one was definitely known. That one's preventable. And I will say, RJ, Edzo was like all over the officials of this one. Like,
that's what I heard. I heard that from Twitter. Yeah. Sounded like it.
Like more maybe than any, broadcaster I've ever heard, really just like, they're just blowing this. Like, they're just missing this all the time. Yeah. Let's see. Valentina, it broke my heart to see so many people leaving so early in the third. The crowd was so loud and bonded in the first. Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, it happens, and I mean, but I do think that both of those things are true.
Yeah. Let's see, Paul. They were playing a team that had reserves to include the Stahl brothers, one older than you. This team cannot stop the PK. That's an issue. They need AD and stop trying to make a pass instead of shoot the puck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two separate ones there. Yeah, you got to see this two Stahl brothers, RJ, together in Florida in their little like retirement situation.
I know.
Going
I
down to
feel
Florida.
privileged to have seen that. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to see Eric Stahl in an NHL game again. So
Mhm.
that was a nice little touch there.
Right, that's how I felt seeing the Panthers earlier this year, and just because we talked about just read the comments about the crowd and stuff. We talked earlier about the diehards here with us. We're sitting at 60 here in chat right now, RJ. So I think we should give them a treat for being such awesome supporters of ours and such awesome Kraken fans. And because we just mentioned the Stahl brothers, I think we should tell the little story of the thing you and I have had now for probably a decade of
Yes,
like
let's
when
do
we're
it.
generally when one of us is leaving the other's house and we'll like walk one of them we'll walk whoever to the car and then we'll stand and talk for like an ungodly amount of time.
Yep.
And we refer to that as stalling, and we measure how long it's been based on the Stahl brothers, so obviously Eric,
Yep.
Mark, Jordan, Jared. And only a couple times have we ever gotten all the way down to Jared stalling. But I feel like that transition to Mark stalling, Jordan stalling is where we kind of get things.
Yeah.
We
Usually,
know to
once we
wrap
go
it
from
up.
Jordan Stahl to Mark Stahl, yeah, then
Yeah.
then we know. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. But it's a really good night when it gets to Jared stalling.
Yes. It means there's lots of stuff in there to talk about, and so just wanted to give that out there for all you
Feel
awesome
free to use that scale.
Kraken
It's
fans in
been
here.
helpful for Dylan and I for many years.
Yep, whenever you got something going on, just maybe a little bit too long. Let's see. Ryan, we need to trade for some defensemen. Well, like I said the other night, everybody needs to trade for defensemen. It's just kind of the way it goes.
Yep.
Let's see. From Hockey Fork, we got the 4 stars of the game, and these are all Florida Panthers here.
All
These
right.
aren't real names, are they?
Wait, what? Alexei Heponiemi or Itu Lotsarainen? Are those the names?
Tyson Baker's the number 1. That's not a
Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
know who
aware of
these are.
that.
I don't know what that's about. Let's see. RJ, how was the Sea-Hec event earlier today? I watched the first couple of hours of it on YouTube. Allison Lucan was a great MC. She must have worked 12 plus hours today. Yeah, so I figured we'd do, we'd already kind of talked about it. We do kind of a Sea-Hec review as part of the deep dive this upcoming week. But yeah, I mean, how was it today? Give everybody an early look at that.
Yeah, I mean, in a word, it was great. You could tell that Allison, I mean, not just today, but that she has put so much time, effort, work into this event, setting everything up, over the past like couple months or so. And I've seen her behind the scenes working on it too. You knew it was going to be a great event, and I mean, it was executed so well. I learned so much. I mean, and no matter what your level of hockey expertise was, anywhere along the whole spectrum, I'd like to think that you learned a lot going to that event. And you had presentations of all kind of knowledge levels that geared toward any kind of people, and I think some things that were really accessible for beginners, some people that really touched on some high end math that I couldn't even understand, but it ran the gamut. And there were a lot of great people too, and I liked how many they had the breaks kind of interspersed there where you could just go talk to anybody who just spoke and ask them questions, and everyone was super approachable. So I had a great time, got to talk to a lot of very interesting people and learn a lot. So talk about it more on the deep dive, but definitely worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I mean that's what these things are all about. It's all about giving you that like look at what everybody's really doing, right? Like it's a chance for everybody to kind of show off what they've been working on and to network. And it seemed like it was a
Yeah.
great opportunity for everybody there
And
to
Dylan,
kind of do that.
you'll be pleased to know that I have some new aging curve information via the great Mike of Blake McCurdy. So I will let you in on the nuances of that. I don't fully understand the math, but I will show you some more aging curves soon, which I'm sure you're thrilled about.
I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait. Let's see here. Tonight was Vintage Kraken 2021. I think they might have misunderstood the memo on reverse retro night from Valentina there. Yeah, there was some talk earlier, RJ, of reverse retro jerseys. Are they cursed?
I don't want this talk because they look so good. I know you got 2 losses in them. They need to win a game in these jerseys just to do away with the curse talk. But I don't want them to go away. The jerseys are awesome. They had a ton of extra posters, so I snagged one here. Like, these are great. I love the reverse retro nights. But yeah, I do not want to curse there. So let's
I don't
get
either.
over
I
them.
love them. I said it during the game. I said had we seen them in normal lighting and not from Adidas back when we did our reverse retro rankings on the Red Glare podcast, our Patreon exclusive podcast, I would have ranked these Kraken ones way higher. They gave us horrible lighting in that reveal video, and it affected my feelings towards it. But the design is so perfectly balanced between totally reminding you of old school hockey jerseys without feeling too old. And I absolutely love that about these. And the color blue is so beautiful. So yes, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So speaking of the reverse retros, I went down to my little corner to take pictures of them during warmups again. I want to treat everyone who's in here with a nice little story. So I was there during warmups, and I think Daniel Sprong caught me taking a video of him because he, like, as soon as he was kind of bounced up and down, and then I think he sees me, he makes a beeline right for my corner and like slams into the boards, like right where I'm at, as the players will do. But the door wasn't, I guess, locked right, and it opened the door during warmups. And he looked back, he's like, I'm like, hey, that one's on you, buddy. I gave him a little point.
That's what you get.
Yeah, so that was a fun little moment there.
That's
a little scary, but fun.
That's definitely a good story there. Let's see, Ty, the test will be next time we play Florida. Do the boys adjust and come out on top, or do they get handled again? Should be pretty telling if other factors stay out of it. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a good one. I think Montreal is going to be a nice test. Just any situation to bounce back from this one. But again, RJ, they hung in there. They were trying till literally the very last seconds. Gotta, always appreciate that.
Yeah, no quit in this team. That doesn't mean automatic comeback win every game, but there's no quit.
Yeah, we got Jen in here in the chat saying half my photos tonight were of things that should have been calls but weren't. Lots of sentiment about that all throughout here. Joshua here in chat. I'm not liking the Dunn slander, lol. I'm okay with what he did. Retaliate away, Vince. He isn't starting-ish, but he's finishing it. I love his F around and find out mentality. I'd be okay if a couple more made the other team pay from time to time. That is something that it is good that you bring that up, Joshua, because I did feel like there was a couple times where, I was thinking like, oh, okay, we're going to see a fight at some point, or we're going to see this game get really chippy in a potentially bad way, just because generally that's how these games go. When one team's kind of struggling, maybe they feel like they're behind on some calls, right? Like we've seen games get out of hand in that way, but I just don't know that that's the Kraken style.
No, I don't think it is. And I mean, I will say on the Dunn penalty, it's one of those that you could kind of see coming. And I don't know that it would have gone that way had a previous play not just happened. I don't know if the broadcast showed it because it was behind the play, but Ryan Lomberg and Carson Soucy went into the end boards just fighting for a puck, and the puck ended up going away from it. But behind the play, I think Soucy got a good shot up high at Lomberg, and then Lomberg got, I think, an elbow into Soucy's nose, and Soucy was barking at the ref about it the whole way back. And so I think the officials are like, okay, we can't let the next thing go here. We got to get this under control, and I think we've got to teach some side a lesson here by giving someone an extra penalty. So it just felt like that was coming, and you got to have that situational awareness to know where the officials are at.
Yeah. Let's see. But otherwise, credit to the Kraken for when they push back or they try to make a statement, they are trying to do it the right way. They're not trying to go out there and get chippy. They're not trying to go out there and, to fight, like just fight somebody to get out their frustration or something. They're like, no, we want to go score the next goal, and we're going to try to get momentum going. We're going to try to win this game. And they kept that mentality all the way to the end. And I do want to give them credit for that, because that's a tough thing to do in that situation.
Yeah.
Ty saying, I've sat in the bin for retaliation. Sometimes it just happens so fast, it's too late, lol.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about there. Let's see. This is from Bazzi. Staal is of Dutch origin. Staal means steel in Dutch. So there we go. Get to learn some stuff from the brothers from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
A lot of Dutch stuff today. I was chatting with Daniel Sprong this morning about the World Cup stuff. Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you, the trash talk has begun in the locker room. Ryan Donato, the main target this morning.
Oh, I could see that. Let's see here. All in all, tonight was just some shinny hockey. That's from Ty. I know someone said that had something along the same lines earlier. I think it was CR Bud. Yeah, it's just, it's one of those nights. Let's see. Lol, the aging curve was interesting. Did he remove Burns from the data sets? Clear outlier, lol.
Huge outlier. Burns and Pavelski, I think you just got to get rid of his outliers. But it was very interesting because there were a lot. You basically included players that are not in the NHL as well. Like you kind of include their data to make it work.
Agreed. Okay, so the Sea-Hec presentations, this is from Striatic. Sea-Hec presentations continue to be great later into the day too, but earlier talked with the video coach in charge of challenges and joked about the imprecise standards for goalie interference. I talked about it earlier, RJ. Will the NHL ever provide guidance to the teams, to us, to the officials themselves about what constitutes goaltender interference?
I know the timing. I mean the timing of this. Yeah, Tim Ohashi, the Kraken's video coach, was on a panel and he was asked like straight up by Allison, kind of in a joking way, but like, will we ever understand what goalie interference is? And he didn't really want to answer. He's like, it depends on the day of the week. And I guess it was the wrong day of the week today. I guess Saturday is the wrong day, but I immediately thought back to that as soon as that happened. And the challenge came in. I mean, I know you probably already discussed it and I've probably already finished the therapy on that. But I did think the takeaway was interesting from both coaches because I heard both coaches talk about it. Dave Haxtell said that he felt that Grubauer didn't have the chance to do his job on that, basically getting back to the net. But as far as, the rest of it, that's, it's not his call. And then Paul Maurice, his view, I kind of tended to agree with, where he pointed out that Mark Staal was going for the puck there, trying to like tap that puck into the net. And so it was a hockey play he was coming across. It was kind of part of the play. And the fact that the contact was outside of the crease, that basically together meant that it was not goalie interference. And that, it basically made it incidental contact outside the crease because Staal was trying to go for the puck and it was a hockey play.
Yeah, I mean the puck wasn't anywhere there, but like I get that. I guess I get
the pass was going to him. It missed him, but that's what he was reaching for.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those where you see the guy like, just coasting like that. Like I understand all the times where there's, let's say, a Kraken there and they're bodying up, Mark Staal in this case, right? And so you get the call based on that. It was just tough to see, someone and I guess credit to Mark Staal too. He tried to avoid contact as much as possible.
It looked like that to me. It seemed like he was trying to get out of his way.
Yeah, I will give him that too as well. It was just kind of just one of those where you're just like, by the time contact's made, the puck's behind the goal line. So you got to think that, in normal circumstances, Gru's able to get a push off and at least get back over to the post to try to make a save by the time the pass it gets brought back up to a scoring chance. But that also might be just trying to like think about it too much.
Yeah, it's close on that one, but the way the rule is written happens to like benefit the no goalie interference in that scenario. I think you can like see the check mark elements.
The way the rule is written, I'm pretty sure it just says goalie interference is ... I'm pretty sure that's
I posted a quote from it on Twitter. Basically, if their incidental contact is made outside the crease and the player makes an effort to avoid contact, that the goal shall be allowed. And I think that checks the boxes there.
Yeah, I was making a joke, RJ.
Oh, sorry. All right, yeah. Right over my head.
I know, it's okay. Let's see. Maybe the reverse retros are lurst rather than cursed. Look fantastic. Team hasn't won while wearing them. Let's see. Where are we going in here? Woke up with Shorzy curled up next to me. Homie knew we lost today. from Jules there. Four Horsemen in here. Just finished watching the recording. That was a sad one. A few bounces and calls go differently, and that could be a W, but we did look sloppy early. Yeah, I mean, it's just one where the Kraken got to clean up things defensively. Definitely got to work on the PK, and then good things will come at that point. I really feel like that's been the thing that's kind of been the sticking point really all season for them.
Yeah.
The power play has been pretty consistent all season. The goal scoring, the depth of scoring has been pretty consistent all year. They're working in the offensive zone. Nothing there is really needed to change. It's just been, you go back to some of those losses earlier in the season, like that Chicago game way back in the day. It feels like forever ago, where we're talking about discipline. We're talking about defense. We're just talking about making some of those more basic plays and tightening things up in your own zone.
And going forward too with the PK, I remember the last time this season the Kraken's power play could be described as just atrocious. There was that stretch, right? And then they rattled off 18 straight kills as soon as they got some momentum, and the wins came with it. So there's no reason to think that can't happen again.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm going to take a look at it tomorrow. Just kind of go back through their last like 3 or 4 games and look at all their PK opportunities, or
that would be a good breakdown.
The ones that were scored, and just try to figure out what's going on there, because I do feel like the defense isn't quite in the spots that they should be. I feel like they're not doing a good job of pressuring in the same way that they were earlier in the season. Certainly way back when I broke down the PK last time, like it felt like they were doing a really solid job of that kind of triangle +1 and having that +1 really be a menace for opposing teams. And they were doing a great job of handing off responsibilities back and forth as the puck was shifting. They were keeping it up high. Like now guys are just getting wide open looks in the low slot right in front of whichever Kraken netminder's in there. It's just stuff like that. Needs to get figured out a little bit. Let's see. Is Shane Wright going to play against the Canadians? Sean asks RJ.
Well, Ron Francis did talk. You went on a podcast with, I believe, like Pierre LeBrun, Ryan Rishaug talked about it, and said the plan was for him to finish up in Coachella Valley and then maybe get a game or two, at the NHL level, and then and then make that decision about the World Juniors. I think he will be. Again, I don't have any insider knowledge to that effect. Ron Francis is going to stay tight-lipped on that, but I would not be surprised to see him in the lineup against Montreal, especially given that I don't think Geekie will be back in time. I mean, it's hard to tell. It has all the signs of a concussion. It's an upper body injury officially, but I mean, he was wearing a tits advisor today. We saw the play. I just think they're going to want to be cautious with that, and that gives the opportunity for Shane Wright to come in.
I was going to say, was tonight game 5 for Shane Wright?
Game 5. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. So he finishes his AHL stint with 4 goals in 5 games. Those 4 goals coming on 11 shots, and then the perfect in the shootout, it looks like, as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good chance we could see him against Montreal, and just also for the storylines. Like, come on, guys, we need it.
Yeah, and I'm confident we'll see him on Monday for practice.
Edward in here clarifying, Blurst is blessed and cursed. So I understand it now better, Edward. Thanks for that. Let's see. It wasn't incidental contact. He straight Madden hit sticked him. Contact was initiated when Stahl's foot was in the crease, and he interfered with Gru's ability to get back and play his position. That's from Joshua. That's more my thing. Is just like, if Gru doesn't have Mark Stahl like over him, he can kind of better get back over towards the crease and stuff potentially, but whatevs. Let's see. Shane has 7 games already with Seattle. Don't know if they're going to play him. Did he really get to 7? It doesn't seem like that much, but he's got through 9, so they could definitely give him another game or 2 and it'd be okay. Let's see. For Four Horsemen, I hope you're sitting down and also have room to walk around and vent while watching all those recent games PK attempts. Good luck with that. Sounds like torture to me. It's all right. I'll take the hit for all of you gladly. Ty, defense needs to go back to building the house. No one gets in your house and you have a happy tendy. I'm guessing you guys use the house for coaching kiddos. Lol. I don't know that I ever used the house metaphor, but you definitely, talked about all that kind of stuff back in the youth hockey coaching days.
I like that metaphor though. That's a good one to teach the kids.
For sure. Gru probably doesn't make that save as he was so out of position, but he could have got back enough to try to make the stop, and that should be enough. I'm right there with Joshua when it comes to that.
I'm going to leave it.
All right. Sounds good. Let's see. From Walt. All right. Love you. Have a great evening. I'm heading off. Don't forget to like the stream. Have a good night, Walt. Thanks for joining us. Sean, Shane Wright centering the fourth line with Sprong Donato seems like a strong trio. That would be a very strong trio. I think that line would do pretty good.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So do a quick last call here for comments, everybody. Any I mean, I don't know. Any final takeaways is what I was going to say, but I feel like we kind of covered everything in this one. Like it was just a combination of things.
I mean, in a game like this, there's not a whole lot. Like the post-game media stuff was one of the quicker ones for sure. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot. Like we kind of knew where the issues were. You got one or two questions about that, and you move on. I mean, I was only as long as I was because I stayed to talk to Paul Maurice, and I liked his answers on a lot of things. Like he's a really sharp guy, seems like. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. Sea-Hec was great. I'll say that one more time.
Yeah. The thing I have to add is, everybody, we lost tonight, and we were even in the face-off game. That was the problem. We won one too many face-offs, and that's why we lost.
This theory stays.
Put me in Sea-Hec. Let me talk about this.
Yes, that should have been your Sea-Hec presentation here. You need to lose the face-off battle. I know it doesn't sound right, but look at these numbers.
Yep, look at this Seattle Kraken hockey team. Tell me that there is not correlation and causation going on.
I'll run it by Allison and see how much of a genius she thinks you are.
Yes. I like this from Joshua. Final takeaway: Tuesday starts the next win streak. Let's see 10 plus. I mean, last time, right? It was 5, then 7. So next one should be at least 9.
Yep, I think that's the pace.
That's how it works. Striatic, right with 6. Count them 6 shots on goal tonight. No goals in regulation, but I don't care. This was the breakout shots on goal game I've been waiting for. That from Striatic. Yeah, I mean, he just had to lower it, the shooting percentage down to seem reasonable, so that when he comes back, like it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, doesn't look like too much of a stud, I guess.
Yeah, but no, I do love to see those shots on goal from Shane Wright.
Yep, Jules, we need this face-off curse to go away. I know, the curse of winning too many. Ty Dillon, if you want to get back on the ice, start walking around bent over, lol. Those hockey muscles will be burning. So sore today. I know. I'm going to reach out to you soon, Ty, about scheduling everything. I had some stuff come up here, but definitely excited to talk to you about that. But I can say I did put on my roller blades, skated around the street a little bit. And yeah, I mean, the stance comes back. It's just your ability to hold that stance for any length of time that starts becoming an issue.
Yeah.
But my knees were bent. I can.
There you go. Good job.
Proudly say that I bent my knees. And that's what's important. Lots of good night messages in here. So I think we're going to go ahead and call this one. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us. You guys are all the real diehards. Always love, seeing and spending this time with all of you, regardless of the outcome of the Kraken game. It just means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even after a game like this, we had a lot of these last season. It just, it builds that community, and I still look forward to it even after a game. Just trying to get out of the media thing and come join you guys. So makes a big difference. And then I want to give another thanks to our sponsor, Queen Anne Beer Hall. I get to do the thing again now.
Yep.
And I just wanted to say, after Sea-Hec, they had a little after party type thing for those who weren't just coming straight to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where it was held? It was at Queen Anne Beer Hall.
Yep.
They know that's the place to go. I mean, it is the place the hockey community goes. So big thanks to them for sponsoring this post game live.
That is for sure. Thanks everybody for joining us for this one. We'll get right back at it on Tuesday. Can't wait for the deep dive too on Monday to talk about Sea-Hec, PK, all that stuff. It's going to be a good deep dive on Monday, so keep your ears peeled for that. Is that a thing? People say. Is that something that people say? I don't know. Well, it is now. Good night, everybody, and see you next time.